All right. But anyway, we're going to talk a little bit about stability controls. But I was going to tell you, there was a guy from Ireland, and he says, he heard me. I get one of the other guys in there. I call him about his phone now. Put your phone away. Put your phone away. The guy that used to sit right there. And I said, he says, I think I learned more from 3,000 miles away than that guy did sitting in your classroom. Bloody mobile phones. He actually was even typing with an Irish accent. But anyway, what they call it, GM calls it StabiliTrack. Have you ever seen that word before? Have you seen it? You have too. You fixed that white Chevrolet truck and put this on it for that StabiliTrack. Remember that. That's what that was for. What is this?
That's a steering angle sensor.
Steering angle sensor. That's what he had to change out on that thing. It was $115 from the parts store. And it was not an easy job, was it? You had to pull the steering column out and break it down. It's no fun. And all the bolts were on. The rusted and full of dust and all that stuff. The Dodge calls it electronic stability control. Ford Advanced Track. Toyota vehicle stability control. Nissan vehicle dynamic control, and various different names. So basically, it's something that's been on vehicles for quite some time. We'll talk about how it works today. All right, it applies brake pressure to individual wheels when it's needed and can reduce engine power to ensure drivers maintain control of their vehicles. Every now and then somebody will be giving it a little bit too much gas, and some people just intuitively, give it more gas because they hope that they'll, and that'll cause them to start spinning out of control and doing crazy things. And so, now that most everything's electronic throttle body, if the engine controller decides, or in conjunction with this other system, that they're spinning the wheels or going too fast or all that, it'll actually shut that off. It'll actually reduce the throttle, because if you're doing something stupid, it now knows that it needs to preserve you from your own stupidity. Okay, and so it'll actually stop. There's a throttle body over somewhere that come off of an early 90s Lexus that had a second throttle plate above the other one that was electronically closed to prevent you from spinning the wheels too much and all that. But anyway, typical electronic stability control. This is just a typical. You got wheel speed sensors. And you got anti-lock brake system modulator. You got your throttle pedal sensor, electronic stability control module, torque angle sensor, lateral acceleration sensor, brake pedal, wheel speed sensor, so on and so forth. I've already gone over there. We're there, Will. But the Insurance Institute for Highway Safety found in a study that 1/3 of all fatal accidents could have been prevented by this technology if it had been required sooner. And see, they do all these studies and everything. That's another reason that we have high mount stoplights on vehicles, because they determine that you're 40% less likely to get rear-ended if you have a high mount stoplight. That's why I'm telling you, if you're doing an inspection and high mount stoplight's out and you don't catch it and they get rear-ended, it's 40% your fault. So, and I don't know how many times I've gone and said, hey, did you check the high mount stoplight? Yeah, and you mash the brake and it doesn't come on. So it ain't hard to fix that. So just remember that. The 6 main components for the VSC, I've highlighted these in this order because you got wheel speed sensors, a control module, hydraulic control unit. All those are part of your standard APS, right? And then the part that they've added, the steering angle sensor, a yaw rate sensor, an accelerometer, I'm sorry, not accelerator. They already had this, so they just tacked some more stuff on here to make all this work together. And that's what those components basically look like. All right, so at 60 miles an hour, driver swerves to the left to avoid a road hazard. The yaw rate sensor determines where the car is pointing. The steering angle sensor determines where the front wheels are pointing and how fast you're turning the wheel. The accelerometer determines how fast it's decelerating, and the wheel speed sensors monitor each wheel speed. This is all coming together really, really fast. And this thing, they're operating on the high-speed CAN bus because it's got to happen really fast. All this stuff, it can't drag its feet like your audio corporate protocol stuff and all for your sound system and the other stuff. It doesn't have to operate all that quick. They've got the higher speed networks and lower speed networks, and the high speed networks are the ones that do the critical functions, engine control, the ABS and stuff and all that, All right. So when the wheels are turned suddenly to the left, the vehicle will initially understeer. That means it'll keep trying to go straight. Have you guys ever been out here when we're pushing a car? And we're, of course, I know none of you guys ever had to push a car out here, right? Oh yeah, whatever. 2 things that we're really good at by the time we leave this program: we can jump a car off real good, and we can push one. We know how to do those 2 things. Now, we don't drive them in and push them out. We're not going that route. But when we're pushing them in, we got a bunch of people over here, and what they do is when somebody turns the wheel, you notice the car tries to stop almost because the wheels are trying to slide. You got it? And so that's what understeer is all about. You turn the wheels, you know, the wheels are wanting to steer it, but it's basically having to depend on where the patch of the wheel's touching. And if you're going, you know, 50, 60 miles an hour and you have to do a sudden evasive maneuver, particularly if the pavement's a little bit wet, okay, you got that? All right, so what does the control module do at this point? Now this is oversteer, this is understeer. Oversteer means it's turning too much, which means it's sliding over here. Understeer means it's trying to keep going straight when you need to go around a curve. And with electronic traction control, you got there, stability control. The module notices the driver is trying to turn the steering angle sensor. It's picking up on that with this thing right here. You got it? It knows, it's watching that. Second, it notices the vehicle is not turning as intended. That's the yaw sensor. Third, it takes action by sending a signal to the ABS hydraulic unit directed to increase braking power to just one wheel. What it does, it isolates all the other wheels and shoots some fluid out to that one wheel. Okay? Causes the vehicle to do what the driver wants it to do instead of crashing. You about to say something?
I was gonna say, it's not always the left rear, right? Or is it
Whichever, if the left rear is the one that needs doing, or the right rear, whichever one, and all that. If necessary, engine power is also reduced via bus communication to the PCM and a reduction in the throttle angle. There's no use in spinning the wheels. It's pointless. I mean, I know my banner out here has got wheel spinning on it, but you know. All right. So, if it tries to spin out during an abrupt steering maneuver, the module applies braking to the front outside wheel to keep the vehicle under control. What's going on while you're dodging something in the road, and the computer will make those decisions really fast. I mean, it's just like lightning speed. And you know, one time I was driving my little '83 Volkswagen Rabbit when I was going over to the Ford place over there.
diesel?
Yeah, 55 miles to the gallon, man, I love that thing. And so I was going along with this thing, and some guy on a pickup truck, and his windows were all misted up and everything, just came pulling out on faith that there was nothing coming. You ever seen somebody do that? They ain't even looking, they just pull out. Man, I ran off the road, went down in the ditch and all that, trying to miss that guy. And he was driving with his left-hand window down, but he came from the other way, and he couldn't see me out the back window outside. I could see his windows were all frosted up. He just didn't even think about anything coming. He just pulled on out there. Of course, I was the only car out there. And when I went by him, I blew that horn. He ain't gonna do that again. That shook him up, I'm sure. I didn't even know that he got me upset, you know. All right, having the best tires on the rear is a good thing too. Oversteer causes this kind of crash. Having the best tires on the rear helps all cars not to do this, ESC equipped or not. However, driving too fast contributes to this kind of thing too. That's what happened to Paul Walker. If you look at that crash on that Porsche that they were driving, did you know the tires on that Porsche were 9 years old?
Golly.
And Porsche says you're supposed to change them every 6 years. I mean, 4 years. I'm sorry. Porsche says 4 years. And what basically happened? They went sideways into a pole. You can look at it, a pole right beside the car, and it was all. And then it caught fire and all that stuff. You know, really ugly. But you ain't crash proof. Nobody is. You feel like you're crash proof when you're booking along there and you're behind the wheel and everything's like it's okay, but you don't know that you're just on a wing and a prayer. You know what I'm saying? All right. Now then, what we got to do is we got to watch a little piece of a video here. All right. Oop! This box falls off. He swerves. So we're going to watch what happens here. Now, whatever was in that box was fragile, and that guy's going to be really upset if he even knows it fell off. All right, let's look and see what's going on here. All right, we got wheel speed sensors. All right. We got that yaw sensor. And we got our steering wheel rotation sensor. I get some of these sensors mixed up sometimes. And then we got your control unit, and then it's going to show you again, you got a hydraulic control unit down there. All right, now watch what this does. This is a real short video right here. You don't want to go to sleep. Okay. Okay, so this guy swerved, right? Now watch what happened. He swerved. Control unit receives steering angle input. But the control unit can also tell that it is not going the way the guy wants it to go. So it detects the drift. Okay? In other words, it's still going toward that box. The left rear brake applies. You can see how that would pull that over there? That's how that works. All right, but now when he goes back on the other side, it's going to try to oversteer and spin out. All right, oversteer detected and corrected. You got that? All right, this is what happened. Yeah. See, we wanted to do that. Okay, but watch what happens when it applies the brake. It applied that brake, and it straightened it up for him. He didn't even have to think about it. This was like, ooh. See, that's what he felt. That's what he saw. But while all this was going on, all those electronics were looking after him, pulling his fat out of the fire. And that's a good thing to have your fat pulled out of the fire. Right. All right, some vehicles use a different kind of stability controls.
That's horsepower.
That's horsepower right there, boy.
And if it rains, this guy's got a roof over his head, and he's got no air conditioning, you know.
Hopefully got the fixed up wagon.
All right, when the ESC detects loss of steering control, it automatically applies the brakes to help steer the vehicle wherever the driver intends to go. All right. Now, you know, you can think about this. Have you ever mashed the brakes on one that the brakes weren't working right and it would pull? You know, like if the hose is blocked or the caliper is stuck on one wheel and the other wheel works right, and it'll pull. Well, see, if you can use that to your advantage if you can control it really quick. That's what the deal is. Now, braking is automatically applied to the wheels individually, the outer front wheel to counter oversteer and the inner wheel to counter understeer. So some ESC systems also reduce engine power until control. Now, pretty particular this outer front wheel. So in other words, if you're turning that way, it's going to be, and it's trying to, if it's the left front wheel, if you're going to slide to the left front wheel is going to straighten you up. If you're trying to slide to the right front wheel is going to straighten you up, okay? Some ESC systems reduce engine power to control. ESC does not improve a vehicle's cornering performance. This is not a high performance thing. This is just supposed to keep you from crashing and burning. That's like your anti-lock brakes. You know, basically they're supposed to keep you in control of the car. That's what this is all about too, is keeping you in control of the car. All right, now look at this. On the 2009 GMC Arcadia, it's 8 years old right now. 2009, 2017, it's 8 years, right? This engages 6 systems that among them include 11 different components. ABS, bi-state engine mount. You know what that is? It's an electro-hydraulic engine mount. It's an engine mount that acts like a shock absorber, but it only kicks in whenever it needs to. Okay? Dynamic rear proportioning, which basically means you don't have a proportioning valve that's the old kind. You got one that's electric, you know, that's operated with solenoid. Traction control system, variable effort steering, which is there's a whole bunch of different names for that too. Vehicle stability enhancement system. Now, variable effect steering basically gives you more power steering in a parking lot than it does when you're on the road. If you got a car that steers too easy when you're out on the road, it feels squirrely. You know what I mean? You give it a little bit and you know, you feel like you're all over the place. All right. So, whenever you're doing this, you need to look and see and read. Okay, can you do that? Electronic stability control. So you go to there, find that, go here. The most important thing you can do when you're not familiar with it is read the description and operation section of whatever kind of shop manual literature you're using. If you don't follow this rule, you'll bust your fanny doing unnecessary work. It's just the way it is. And I got to call and renew our thing to Identifix too, because I noticed today, because we were stagnant for a week, you know, we went dormant, and they don't like that. So basically, let's look at this right here. Some of this stuff I get from a guy named Ed that's a friend of mine. He writes for Motor Agent. He's also a friend of mine on Facebook. So anyway, his daughter's Dodge Dart had an ESC light, ABS light, and an SRS light illuminated in the dash. Okay, he's fixing one. The SRS light's for the airbag restraint system. On this vehicle, the electronic stability control uses the ABS and traction control along with the dynamic sensor and steering angle sensor. That's not rocket science, we've talked about that already. The dynamic sensor is incorporated into the occupant restraint controller, which is ORC. And the steering angle sensor is located in the electronic power steering gear. So all that, see, they're actually taking those gears. Let me ask you this, what module is it on these GM cars that talks to the wheel, the tire pressure monitor sensors? What module do you have on the car that already receives radio signals? And I'm not talking about your radio. There's another module on your car that automatically receives radio signals, and they let it talk to the tire pressure monitor sensors. On GM cars particularly is what I'm talking about. Huh?
What, the wheel speed sensor?
No. the tire pressure monitor sensors,
Oh,
because they put out radio. They actually use an existing module that's already able to receive radio, and it basically interpolates that information and shoots it out on the network to wherever it needs to go.
it would be the gym module one.
What about the keyless module?
The fob?
Would you- Yeah, well, not the fob itself, but the module that picks up the
That
fob.
picks it up.
It actually is what's listening for that. That's why, you remember on the GM car when I was showing you how you set your TPMS sensor, you turn on the key and you mash both buttons at the same time? Mash both of your fob buttons at the same time, that puts it at that, because that's the
They can do that
module.
here.
Yeah, that's the module that does that.
Okay.
Alright, so we know there's 4 separate systems involved with the indicator lights on the dash. Now Dodge Dart is not, this ain't rocket science, this is Dodge Dart, please. Okay? Okay, so that plugs into Chrysler Watec, which is the Chrysler factory scan tool. You know, like the Ford's IDS that we use? This is a Chrysler Watec. Alright, to see what modules are communicating. Anything in yellow has an issue. So he's got a couple of yellow modules up there. Now that picture's not clear enough for me to tell you which modules it is, but we'll talk about that. So codes were pulled from the ABS and ORC systems. The code received in the ORC system was a C10CC-49, which is an internal electronic failure of the dynamic sensor. But wait a minute, shouldn't the airbag code be a B code for body instead of a C code? What do you think about that? On this particular one? Okay, because you remember B is body, C is chassis, P is powertrain, and U is network. You got that? Alright, so the code stored in the ABS module is a U12500. It's a loss of communication with a multi-axis sensor, which is your ORC. That's also the airbag sensor. The airbag module, and I got one laying over there somewhere, is actually it's a crash sensor is what it amounts to, and it also can talk to the scan tool and all that. And you know, somewhere over there, there's one, I don't even know, I got so many modules on that thing. But anyway, I should have had it in my hand already. The yaw and accelerometers are built into the airbag module, and it kind of makes sense because it's paying attention to crash information. Anyway, you ever see that Die Hard movie where that kid got out and he hit the front of the car and made the airbag light off? Remember that? Live Free or Die Hard, it was a Bruce Willis movie. The kid gets out of the thing and he hits the front of the car, boom! And then of course it lit up OnStar, hey, you got a problem here? You know, and that was able to get them to communicate with somebody, you know. But you don't hit the front of the car with something with it sitting still and make the airbag light off. That ain't the way that works, okay? I mean, it worked for the movie, and he actually jumped to Crown Victoria straight up in the air and knocked a helicopter out too, because he said he was out of bullets. Okay, so the point is, it's not this kind of ORC. Okay, that's the wrong kind of ORC we're talking about here. Alright. Alright. Let's move on. Come on. The dynamic sensor measures side-to-side lateral motion and vehicle rotational sensing, which is how fast the vehicle is turning. Now to test this sensor, you're basically supposed to drive the vehicle between 5 and 15 miles an hour, turning left and right. So it can feel. It's got to be able. You got to be able to see. You know, it's got to be able to find out. Don't crash and don't get stopped by a cop. If you're doing it in the wrong place, they're going to go. Woo, woo, woo.
So what if you're doing that?
Stacy, I'm in class. What you need, Sue? Yeah, she's already charged out, I think. If she's charged out, she had all filter charged out, that's all she needs. All right. Well, this one, calibration didn't help. He tried to calibrate it, didn't do any good. Okay? So it could have been a wiring problem, but in the end it turned out this ORC was a dork. It wouldn't talk. Okay? And so he basically replaced this part right here and he calibrated it and he was in good shape. That was on his daughter's car. All right. 2003 Toyota Sequoia. DTC 1337 was stored in the ABS module. This code is for a mismatched tire size. Imagine that, stable track lap comes on because of a code like this. You pull that code, all right, on vehicles with stability and control, the module controls it. It's got a calibration file program for that specific vehicle. 3 out of the 4 tires were P245/70R16. The right front tire was a P265/70R16, which is more than an inch taller. Might not seem like a big deal, but it turned on a light. All they had to do is get the right size tire and put on there, and that one was fixed. Now, finding that is important. All right, here's your Malibu. One of these, when a misfire occurs, bad enough, puts it in limp mode, reduced power. See, he had a service stable track, and the code for the misfire was P0302, the code CO561 was set in the ABS module, told him the engine system wasn't working right, so it disabled this. It disabled this if the engine's not running right. Okay, so that wasn't a problem with the TCS system, except for the fact that it wasn't working due to an engine problem. okay, spark plug. So he had a stable track problem because he had a bad spark plug.
Yeah, then this fire.
So here's the point, the spark plug caused the problem. If you got a service stable track light on a vehicle and the engine misfiring, go after the misfire before you do anything else, because you may be doing a bunch of extra work. You don't want to do it. Do you like doing extra work?
No.
What about you, Uncle Nick? All right. Which component listed is not an active part of the stability control system?
PCM.
What do you think?
Well, actually, the brake master cylinder, actually. The master cylinder. Master cylinder.
What's that now?
Master cylinder.
Master cylinder, that's a good answer. Now, what do you think, guys?
What do PCM stand for?
Huh?
What do PCM stand for here?
Powertrain control module. All right. Sometimes they call it an ECM. If it controls the engine and the transmission, they call it a PCM, powertrain control module. If it just controls the engine and there's a separate transmission module, it's an ECM. Okay. The stability control system can be taken offline by what? A bad spark plug, mismatched tires, a dash-mounted switch,
Any of the above.
an ORC, any of the above. Now, the problem was if I had put that one above that one, that would not been a good way to do that with it. Nope, that ORC could not do that. Okay. All right, which of these is oversteer?
Steve.
You guys are really sharp. Now you know what oversteer is. Now, when you came into this room, did you know the difference between oversteer and understeer?
Yeah.
Huh?
Yeah, I do.
You do? What about you? You knew it, huh?
It's kind of self-explanatory.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All slip.
All right. What does the stability control system do when a vehicle begins to oversteer to the right?
It
Ooh.
applies.
Let's go to-
Left or brake?
Right.
Wait,
Right, it starts to oversteer to the right, just like you're seeing right here, it's starting to slide around that. What do I need to do to stop this? I think my laser's dying. Huh?
Yeah. Applies the brake from right front.
Which one?
Right front.
Right front, that's gonna help straighten it out, isn't it? Okay?
If it's on the left.
What does the stability control system do when the vehicle understeers on a left turn?
Left front brake. It applies to left.
Front brake or rear brake?
Rear.
I should understand.
Ooh, crash and burn on that one.
No,
All right, so what do you think?
I missed one.
Was that a good presentation or what? Did you have a good time with that?
That was good.
Since we had a bad weather day, I had a good bit of time yesterday to work on this. So,
Yeah, I didn't know those tires on Paul Walker's porch was 9 years old.
yep, you can find it online if you look up the report on that accident.
I figured, someone like Paul Walker would know not to put.
They got all that money.
You think you know that?
That was a used car too. It was one that had belonged to other people and all, you know. And it wasn't anything wrong with the car, other than the fact that they were driving it too fast and all that. You're not bulletproof.